bug. Hey everyone, Britt and Chris Carmichael here.
Look what you did to my thing.
Bringing you the Elevated Life series. Oh my God. Time out, everyone. Time out. What did we do here? Okay. All right, technical difficulties. All right, hey everyone, Britt and Chris Carmichael here, bringing you the Elevated Life series, where we teach you simple mindset shifts to create radical transformation in your life. We love catching you every Friday here at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So thank you so much for tuning in. We always have a blast hearing from you. So say hello in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. And is this your first time tuning in? Hey, Erica. All right, so today's topic, we're gonna teach you the 4 steps of forgiveness. And appropriately, I totally wore my "Too Magical for Your Bullshit" t-shirt because, you know, forgiveness really gives you the freedom to expel all of the negative energy that other people, you're allowing other people to allow into your life.
Yeah, it's great because a lot of people are like, hey, I really want to heal from my past. And you say, all right, well, good. Let's just forget everybody real quick. And
okay,
what you
great.
see is everybody runs the opposite direction. It's hard. Forgiveness is tough. That's why it's so difficult for people to really get over the past. The big problem is we always think that somehow if we keep the past, if we tuck it down, if we do all those things, somehow suddenly it will change. And the reality is that we cannot change the past. All we can do is change how we're handling it, how we see it, and where we move from there.
Hey Fran, happy Friday. Hey Julia, it's so good to see you guys. Madison says we have the best topics.
Yay.
You know, we love hearing from you guys. We love answering any of your questions and covering topics that you are interested in. Actually, Julia is the one that suggested forgiveness today. So here we go. Let's dive into forgiveness. Actually, one question. Are you married? Yes, we have been married for 9 years this year, 13 years together total in this lifetime and many lifetimes before.
True that.
Let's dive in. So the first step to forgiveness is to accept the pain. Pain always happens. Darkness always comes before the dawn, right? So pain always happens before you move into that next level of understanding, awareness, and growth. So accept whatever has happened. If someone molested you as a child, #MeToo. If someone cut you off on your way to go get donuts, whatever it may be, how big or how simple of a thing that triggers you or causes pain or anger or any feeling that is less than love, accept it. Accept whatever has happened.
Yeah, a lot of times we ask for growth, and what we don't realize is that the way that a lot of that comes is through really screwed up opportunities, because the opportunities show you how to grow. You'll notice that when life's really when you're just on that success track, when you feel like you're riding the elevator to success and everything's just going exactly as you planned, no growth. There's no growth during those times. And so nothing really changes. And when we go through parts where we have an unfaithful partner, or when we have something that really comes up for us, what ends up happening is that we get into a place where we can learn and where we can grow. And that's really step 2, is to find the growth. Once you've accepted the pain, once you said, hey, this has happened to me, once you've stopped running from it and said, hey, I'm going to turn around, I'm going to confront this. It might be painful, it probably will be. But what you notice a lot of times is that the real pain is in the running part. The real pain is in the avoidance. That's the easy thing to do. Instead of turning around and facing it and say, you know what? I recognize this happened to me. I recognize that I'm here as a human on this planet and things are going to come up. And once you've done that, you can fall in that second step and find the growth. What did you learn? Did you learn what you needed? Did you learn maybe what you don't need? Did you learn to set up better boundaries? What was that silver lining? What is the lesson that you can almost thank the other person who's really hurt you? How can you thank them? What's that lesson?
Is there a lesson that you're still holding on to that has resentment or anger or pain from the past that you could maybe use this opportunity and these simple steps to help you walk through that healing process? Because the truth is, carrying the pain forward doesn't do us any favors, but as soon as we learn the lesson, we begin to make more empowered choices moving forward. So actually, like Chris said, turning around and facing that thing that you're running from actually will give you even more strength and more fuel to keep moving forward, but this time without all the heavy burdens of the pain from the past. So take a moment to think about, what is that one thing or one person or experience or situation? Maybe you got fired from a job a million years ago and you're still mad about it. Like, what is that one thing that you are still holding on to that is the biggest thing that comes to your mind? Now, there's going to be a lot of little things that we need to forgive. I have to forgive crazy people every day. You know, like if you walk outside your front door, like forgiveness better kick in, right? Because we know that something's going to happen. Someone's going to do something crazy or cut you off or whatever. But let's talk about those deeper pains that really are causing you to choose different actions because they are blinding you to your true beliefs and what is real for you, because maybe in the past it protected you, but today it's no longer serving you. So what is that one thing that you really need to heal, to forgive, to release, to move forward? Think about that moment. Just take a moment to think about it. And again, if we're running from it, we spend all of our time avoiding it, especially things from childhood. Why not give it space to be honored and to be heard and to be seen?
I like to think about forgiveness and people who I've needed to forgive in the past, as we have this unconscious tie between us. And the more I harbor negative feelings about them, and the more I think about them in a negative way, despite the fact that they're not in my present moment, they haven't called me, we haven't talked, those kind of things, I'm the one keeping the tie there. I'm the one keeping that unconscious bond. I'm the one staying with that victim mentality. They're not doing that. They may be sitting in the pool sipping a martini for all I know.
Pissing other people off.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. The problem happens though when you continue that unconscious bond. And so what we really like to do is to start as you turn and you face whatever forgiveness you need to, as you accept it, as you realize the growth, and you turn and you say, you know what? I can do that. I can face this. This already happened. I've already lived through it. I've already made it to the other side. And when you get to the other side and you turn around and you say, holy smoke, there was no bond there ever in the first place. I was making it up. And it's the mental bond that we keep and continuously harbor those feelings against them. And once you let it go, this is the deepest healing you can do. You know, forgiveness, when you do a forgiveness session, when you're really deep in it, when you really let go of all of those people that you've just been carrying on your back for all these years, the freedom that you feel and the amount of the more energy that you have in your life, and the easier it is for you to love. And once you turn around that first time and face it, it's easier to do it the second time. It's easier to do it the third time. Especially when you knock off the big ones, then it's easy every time.
You know, that reminds me of one of the services that Chris offers is hypnosis and transformation and healing through that process. And one of the sessions that I'm so lucky to be married to my coach, hypnotist, guru, like all the things, right? One of the sessions that he walked me through was a forgiveness session. And you imagine a chair sitting in front of you called the listening chair, and you put all the people you need to get things off your chest in that chair, and you let them have it. You yell at them, you scream at them, you got to get it all out. I mean, things from my childhood came up about having family members call me fat as a child, and that stuck with me, and it was my belief because someone I loved and trusted that was an authority in my life told me what I thought to be true, and I continued to carry that belief for so long. And what surprised me is that I ended up putting myself in the forgiveness chair. I ended up putting my 19-year-old self, 200 pounds, full of rage, and I asked her, why are you so angry? And she said, because I had so much love to give. And you know, that's the thing. When it comes to forgiveness, the third step in this process is having compassion, is recognizing that we're all the same, that we're all going through the same experiences, and that on a deeper level, we all just want to be loved, heard, seen, felt, and connected. So if you can move through the acceptance part, you know, in Zen philosophy, they say, suffering ends when you accept what is. So as soon as you accept and you find the silver lining and the lesson and the growth that came with it, you can then move into the stage of compassion. And compassion kicked in for me. I remember driving by someone's truck that I would see at the gym that I couldn't stand. It would drive me crazy. I'd get all irked up every time I saw that red truck. And there was a day that I drove past the gym, saw the red truck, and I wasn't moved. There was no emotional trigger. There was nothing. And that was the first time I realized consciously, wow, this is what forgiveness feels like. You just don't care anymore, and you're no longer emotionally moved. Erica says avoidance tools, staying crazy busy, alcohol, food, social media, etc. Eliminate them and you have no other choice.
Yeah, put your back against that wall and
Yes.
there's nowhere else to run. The compassion part of all this is so important because what you're really saying is you realize that we are all humans and that we are going, I mean, I'm sure there's someone that's had to forgive you. I'm sure there's plenty of people that have said, that damn Chris Carmichael, holy smokes, he did these things and that thing. I maybe don't even know it. And you know, truthful, I'm sorry. Look, if I hurt you, I'm totally sorry. But the reality is you start to come to a realization that a lot of times people are just mirroring the actions that they've seen, whether it's something that happened with their family. And a lot of people have had absentee parents that didn't show up. They didn't have all the parenting books. They didn't have the technology that we have now. And still, with all the technology, we still screw it up. And so you realize that maybe it's the way they were raised. You know, maybe they were abused as kids, or maybe it was a emotional abuse or verbal abuse, or who knows? And they lashed out in the same way that they've seen other people do the exact same thing. And so they're just repeating this process. And so what you end up doing is you have compassion for that person. It's not that you say, hey, listen, I am totally going to forget what happened, but you are saying, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to keep these negative feelings for me. Remember, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. The other person doesn't necessarily get any kind of benefit, but you get all of the benefit. You get to move forward in your life in a way that says, you know what, I don't carry around the old stuff. I'm able to move forward light as possible, just floating on the air. And so once you've delivered that compassion part, once you have that, the next part is to cut the cord. That unconscious cord I was talking about, you cut it. And the easy way to do it is once you turn around and face it, you realize that you needed to grow, you realize that you needed lessons, you got the needs that you wanted, you got your boundaries set up better for the next time, and you've developed that compassion, you cut the cord. And the way to do it is you just lift your hand up like this and cut the cord right in front of you. Just energetically, just imagine as though there was a silver cord between you and the other person. Take your hand out and cut that cord and just say, I love you, I release you. Yeah. And when you do that, man, things start to happen. And what you notice, like Britt said, and when she drove by the gym and saw that truck, and there was no emotion that came up. There was no, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person. They weren't able to bend your day to their will. What you're able to do is say, I'm in control of this. And always the control that you have is your ability to respond. And in this way, as you cut that cord, your responsibility grows so much, and you learn so much, and you realize that we're all here just trying to do the best that we can. And the easiest thing to do, or the thing that we can always do, is to love more. We can always be more kind. We can always be more gentle. And what you realize is that a lot of us are still in survival mode, where we still feel attacked all the time. And once you get out of that, and where you can love and keep a space and realize that people are on their own journey and going through their own pains and going through their own hurts, this process becomes so much easier to deal with.
You know, there's an entire module inside my online course, Shine School, about forgiveness. And we dive into these steps that you can take to create that freedom in your life. I created an entire module on it because forgiveness is some of the deep healing spiritual work that you must do before you elevate yourself to any of those fun categories in spiritual awareness, like psychic abilities and things like that. You must start practicing compassion and forgiveness. And when you can open your heart to all, even the ones that drive you crazy, that's when you're at a spiritual strength. That's when you found your spiritual strength. When you can continue to remain open, your heart full and pouring love, even into the crazy ones, that's when you know you've hit that spiritual level of growth and understanding that is compassion. Hey, Nani, she says, that's amazing. I'm not familiar with hypnosis, but it sounds fascinating.
Nani, you've been in the club, the sessions that we do in the...
That's hypnosis, baby.
That's hypnosis.
Yeah, Nani, inside the Elevated Life membership, when we go through those 3 guided meditations in each masterclass, that essentially is hypnosis. Guided meditation is hypnosis. People just like the word psychic, people get weird about words and labels. So people are like, I don't know what that is. But the truth is, you're always in hypnosis. When you're scrolling on your Instagram and 10 minutes goes by, you are in trance. You are in hypnosis. When you're driving to the grocery store and you were like, shit, how'd I get here so fast? You are in trance. So you're constantly going in and out of trance, whether you realize it or not. The hypnotist just happens to be able to help you get into a state of trance and actually use it for your benefit, to reprogram your subconscious mind and to reorganize those beliefs that are holding you back.
Yeah, you know...
I didn't know what that was hypnosis.
Yeah.
Why do you think it works so well, baby?
Hypnosis is basically just a tool set of guiding you into a relaxed state of trance. And in trance, you know, your brain is relaxed enough so that you can start to change some of those beliefs. A lot of us think that we'll change it through brute force or through willpower. And a lot of times that doesn't work at all. What you have to do is be in a very relaxed state where you can bypass that critical factor that you have and start to get into those deeper seated beliefs. Otherwise, in regular, normal, everyday stuff, you can't change your beliefs. It just doesn't work that way. It takes too much repetition to get there. That's why stuff like affirmations and things like that just they might be effective, but they take so long to take effect. Hypnosis just way faster, way faster.
What's the statistic on therapy, like going to see a psychiatrist?
Yeah, so in the...
Oh, and hi, Mom.
What's up, lady? In the American Journal of Health, there was an article talking about different modalities for healing and self-help and things like that, different therapy types. And they were saying that if you went to a therapist, like a regular clinical therapist, after, I want to say 115 sessions, I think that's the number, it takes 6 years and 115 sessions, they have a 60% success rate. And hypnosis after 6 sessions is a 95% success rate. And so that's why we do that. It's not because it's cool. It's not because it's got a great name and people, ooh, it's kind of weird. It works. That's exactly why we do it. Hypnosis is just freaking amazing.
It's so powerful. Okay. Chris says, thank you for this message. I have had a huge wound that I've been holding on to.
Oof.
Oh, wow.
Let it go, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much for opening up and sharing that. It's so important to recognize and honor those painful parts of yourself, not to cut them off and not to put them in a box or hide them in a closet, but to honor them and recognize them. And the more we can celebrate the pain, the more we can celebrate the darkness or the trauma or the hard times, that's when we find that silver lining. That's when we find that spiritual growth. That's when we find that freedom and peace, which we're all searching for.
Whew.
Wow. And
Forgiveness Friday, here it is.
Hashtag Forgiveness Friday. I want to know, do you have any questions that have come up for you today? Maybe you're struggling to forgive yourself. Maybe you're struggling to forgive other people. You're not really sure what to do. These steps are going to help you go through that process. If you have any questions, if anything pops up or any weird emotions that you're unsure of, feel free to leave a comment below, reach out, send us a private message. We love hearing from you. We love supporting you. And that's exactly why we've created the Elevated Life membership, where we dive in deep into these topics and share masterclasses on things from success to spirituality, because it's shit that they don't teach in school, but we need to know it. So many of us are running around like I don't even want to say a chicken with their head cut off because I'm vegan, but running around crazy, not sure what to do or where to go, and they know they have these dreams, but no one's taught them how to access them or tune into them or follow them, because they're so busy trying to play to someone else's mold or live up to someone else's expectations. And here on the Elevated Life, we're here to break all of that bullshit down and to remind you that you have the power to choose the life that you want to live. It's all about perspective. If you can shift your perspective to find the positive in each moment, you'll never live a life that is lacking. You'll always find love in every single moment.
Yeah, and just remember, the definition of miracle is a shift in perception. So if you're looking for miracles in your life, and it might not be the Red Sea that parts, and you might not walk on water, but as you shift your perception, you'll find new miracles. You'll find that life responds to you in new ways. And as you go through this forgiveness type stuff, you'll really get a handle on, God dang, I was holding on to some dumb things. And the biggest person, like Britt said, to go with forgiveness with is yourself. I mean, we hold ourselves to some standards that are just ridiculous. And you would never, ever use the language that you used with yourself inside your own head with the best friend. They'd leave. They'd say, if you use that with your spouse, you'd hope they just head for the door. So remember that when you're talking to yourself and when you're going through this kind of stuff, put yourself in that chair, put yourself into that forgiveness mode and say, hey, look, maybe I've been holding on to this hurt for 20, 30, 40 years. It's time to let it go. It's time for new stuff. If you want new things to come into your life, you cannot hold on to the old things. You can only hold so much at a time. If you want new stuff, let go of the old. So this weekend, forgive somebody.
Forgive on to yourself. Each other.
Yeah. Give somebody a big hug. Tell them that you love them. Cut the cords with the people that, didn't serve you right, but they really did, because they taught you the lessons that you needed so you could move your life forward. Be in that space where you're doing this from love. Don't forgive out of anger or hatred or things like that, because the forgiveness will never be complete. You have to forgive out of love and realize that without doing it, you're really stunting your own growth.
Mom says, what do I always say? Let it go, Louie.
So true.
It's so true. If there's anything you're holding on to that doesn't feel good, let it go, Louie. And have a beautiful weekend. If you have any questions on forgiveness, or if there's any topics you'd like us to cover here on the Elevated Life series, just drop a comment or shoot us a private message. We love hearing from you. We love supporting you, and we can't wait to see you next Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you know someone who would love this message, you're like, oh my gosh, we were just us talking about this, or there's someone you need to forgive, then tag them in the comments below and let them know how much you love them. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate all of your love and support. Have a wonderful weekend. Peace.
Bye, guys.